Good morning and welcome, Freeman family. I want to thank you for joining us here today on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Sun's shining outside, so appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us today. Just momentarily, I'll introduce our speaker for today, but wanted to go over a couple of logistical things as I do every single week. The first thing is always where you access the video to get, or access the link to get to this video, this live stream. There is a Q&A document located right next to that. We would love if you guys would submit your questions throughout the presentation. We will have a Q&A section near the end here where we'll get to as many questions as we can. And if we don't get to your question per se, we will get back to you at a later time to make sure that your question is answered. For our speaker today, Ms. Kimberly J, aka Special K, currently makes her home in Richmond, Virginia, where she is a 2020 three-time RVA Award nominee and a 2020 RVA Award recipient in the category of Best Social Media. Poetry became a great passion of hers when she was in 9th grade, and it continues to stick by her side this day. Special K began performing in 2014, where she timidly stepped into the light of Showcase and featured stages all over Richmond. In 2018, she broadened her performance arena to include Washington, D.C., Maryland, and other places along the East Coast. In 2020, when creative outlets around the world began opening their doors virtually, she has been able to share her love of poetry and the spoken word with like-minded souls in places as New York, Georgia, California, Australia, Scotland, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Romania, and various other parts of the world. Writing under the name Kimberly J, she has also authored a book, Journey to Forgiveness, and contributed to several anthologies, including the 2019 and 2020 Poetry Marathon Anthology. When Special K isn't captivating her audiences with her powerful words and magical storyteller's voice, she enjoys handcrafting, greeting cards, reading, having fun at the beach and the pool with her family on the horses, and it is said that Special K can use words to play with imaginations or influence out of the box thinking. Whatever the topic or theme, Special K will engage listeners with a unique form of word inspiration that won't soon be forgotten. Without further ado, I'd like to send it over to Special K and our presentation for today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. As it was said, I am Special K, and that means that I am, well, what am I? I'm a poet at heart, but I am also a spoken word entertainer. So I hope that I can touch on topics that are sometimes sensitive and maybe a little touchy and bring life and entertainment to them so we can discuss the hard things. So that's a little bit about who I am and what I do. I started writing poetry when I was in 9th grade, and I still have some of those pieces. I am actually friends on social media with my high school teacher from 9th grade, and she still remembers those pieces. So it's kind of a weird, nostalgia moment. But yeah, I was right around a lot of you guys' ages when I started writing. And I was influenced by Maya Angelou, and I just connected with her and her words and her situation. So a lot of what I write, I envision hearing Maya Angelou speak in my head as I'm writing. And I hope that I am able to convey a storyteller's voice just like she was. So if you don't have a role model, I encourage you to find a role model that's in the field that you want to be in, and just so that you can have them in the back of your mind as a reference. But anyway, like I said, Maya Angelou said that words have power. And I truly believe that. And I have been able to use words to overcome hardships and difficult times in my life. So one of those things was that growing up in 9th grade, high school was hard. It was really hard for me. And I used my words years later to go back and learn how to love myself. And I'd like to share that piece with you all right now. It's called The Apology. I wanted to say I apologize for whatever I did to offend you. For whatever that massive thing was that ripped me away from your bosom like a babe being ripped from a black woman's arms and sold to the white man on the next plantation. I wanted to apologize for dropping the ball on this empire. I know we were supposed to be building a nation. I wanted to apologize for straightening your crown or not seeing that it was crooked. I wanted to apologize for opening my mouth when you thought it should have remained closed or simply choosing to let my words flow. I want to apologize for whatever crime I committed. I say whatever because honestly, I don't really know. I wanted to apologize because somehow I must have let this crystal ball slip through loose fingertips and it was the one that held our future. Now it's gone and just disappeared into thin air. My head is heavy and my heart aches from the weight of this shame attributed to the role I played in this breaking apart. And I wanted to say, I would do anything to fix this mess I made if only I could see where I knocked something over, dropped something to the floor, or wherever this unraveling was created. But I can't see. And maybe that's due to tears that fall from puffy red eyes caused by all the shards of glass in my back. I knew you played darts, but I never knew you threw knives too. And I can't bring my mouth and vocal cords to work together to form the words of an apology. Can't let those wisps of air pass my lips to form some flimsy apology, especially when all around me I am surrounded by nothing but catastrophe and you never once stopped to check on me. Instead, you ready, aim, fired your assault on me. Each word designed to rip into me and tear me apart. I cannot apologize to you when it is so evident that you didn't care if I was already practically dead and barely breathing anyway. And so for a brief moment, clarity. And I somehow managed to lift my head. And I know this apology I've been grappling over will never be uttered to the likes of you. Instead, I choose to apologize to me for ever thinking you were better, for placing your light in for placing you in a light that shined brighter than my own, for ever even considering I owed you something when you provided no type of explanation and there certainly isn't one forthcoming. I apologize to me for thinking I needed your love. I treated it like a drug and I acted like an addict, and I'm not that mentally broken, abused victim that I used to be. And I apologize to me for reverting back to that girl I used to be in this situation. And I apologize to me for thinking I was solely at fault, that all guilt was mine to be held, and that I have permitted this narrative you speak to be the only one that is told. I apologize to me for doubting my self-worth, for forgetting I am enough. This is the apology I will bring to the table. These are the words I can say without questioning if I am able. I apologize to me. And going forward, I promise to do better. So tell me, self, do you accept my apology? Because I apologize to me. So, like I said, high school was hard for me, and that's when I started writing. I started writing to have an outlet for all of the weighty things that I was experiencing. I experienced being bullied and some other things, and just to let the pressure go because I didn't really have anybody to talk to, I started writing. Years later, I found myself in a similar situation where I thought that I should be telling somebody, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And then I realized, wait a minute, I have to love me. And sometimes loving me means that I have to apologize to myself. And poetry has really helped me along on that journey. And especially going back to Maya Angelou and what Maya Angelou said, words have power. And once I wrote those words and started saying those words, that I apologized to myself, my self-confidence started to skyrocket because I started to believe that I was valuable and that I had value. So again, I'm going to keep going back to this and going back and back and back to this. Words have power. So I challenge you guys today to think about the words that you are using to yourself. Are you saying powerful things to yourself so that you can be the best you that you possibly can be? Or are you echoing not so great, powerful words to yourself? And it's hard sometimes to realize that we're echoing the negative things to ourselves, but once you do, I promise you, like a weight lifts, and you walk a little bit different. And so maybe you might need to start with an apology to yourself. And so I encourage you to kind of look inside and see, do I need to apologize to myself? Have I not valued myself as much as I should be? And if that's you, like it was me, just a little, hey, I'm sorry, self, for whatever. So as I got older, that was my high school, kind of into my 20s and 30s. um, and then, as my bio said, I started going to open mics all over Richmond in 2014. And I loved it. I loved the stage. I loved kind of bringing a little bit of that Broadway feel to poetry and just making my words come alive. And then in 2015, just when I thought everything was going right and nothing could go wrong, and I was on top of my world, my universe, I was on the top of it, I was the queen. And then in 2015, I had a head injury. And that head injury caused me to not be able to read, to not be able to talk, to not be able to write, to not be able to, did I say walk? Basically do anything. But the words were still there in my head. And I just wanted to be able to use poetry to overcome. Poetry had always been there, words had always been there, and I wanted to be able to get back to it. So on days when life was really hard, when I didn't want to do the therapy, when I didn't want to do the work to get better, I would write. Sometimes I would write in my head, and sometimes I would say the words out loud. And even though I say out loud, it was very difficult to understand me because, as I said, I couldn't talk. And then when people could understand me, I would say the words, and people like my mom and my sister would write the words down. I also learned sign language because they didn't think that I would ever be able to talk again. So I knew sign language, but I learned it better. And I would sign, and interpreters would write the words down for me. When I say that words have power, they really do. Again, I'm going to keep going back to that, because if you don't leave here today with anything else, I want you to know that words have power, and they are so powerful that they can change the world as you see it. And that's so important. I feel like it's the most important thing that you can take away from me today, that you can take with you on your life's journey, is to know that you can change the world. No matter how old you are, no matter where you are in life, you can change the world how you see it just through the power of words. So, so those words, they motivated me. And when I was down, people would read those words back to me, my words. They would feed them back to me, and they would just help me. So again, poetry helped me to overcome some massive struggles, and words, they have power. So then I got healed. I mostly got healed. And I started doing poetry again. Around about 2018, I started traveling and going outside of my area. And that's another thing. I really encourage you, if you ever get the opportunity to go outside of your four corners, do it. Go to another city and see what they're doing in your field in that city. Just don't live in a box. Jump out of the box. But in 2018, I was able to start kind of semi going more, and people liked what I had to say, so they started booking me. And then I realized, wow, what I'm doing, not only is it helping people, but it can provide an income for me, which I no longer had because of my head injury. And so that was just a great feeling to know that words are so powerful that they can change the world as you see it and change circumstances. So for me, my world opened back up because I could support myself again doing what I love. And then in 2019, 2020, I was really, once again, at the top of my game. You couldn't tell me anything. You couldn't tell me that the sun didn't shine because I had come back from such a large blow to me, to my ego, to my personality, to my life. And I had come back and I was once again riding the waves and I was on top of my world and just having so much fun. I have headlined at shows, comedy shows. I've been the headline opener. And who does that? Who has poetry as a comedic headline opener? But I did that. I performed in Virginia Beach. I was performing in DC. I was performing in Maryland. I had an invitation to go to New York and perform. I was on my way to Atlanta, Georgia, to perform when the world shut down. And what do you do? This was just like another blow. And this time, when the world shut down, or everybody's world shut down this time, it wasn't just me, but probably much like a lot of you all, I was lost and I was floundering and I didn't know how to let words help me. I didn't know how to let words help me overcome this. I kind of shut down with the world. And then one day in a chance conversation, somebody said, "Hey, they're doing Zoom events." And I had no idea what that was. Like, yes, people were doing meetings and they were going to work, but a Zoom event, really? Who wants to sit in front of their computer voluntarily and go to an event? But I was bored. I was a little bit lonely. I was starting to become a little bit depressed and some more things. So I said, I'm going to try it. And let me tell you, the first time I went to a Zoom event, my first Zoom event was in the UK. They could all see me, but I could not see them. I don't know if it was something with Zoom. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't see them. They could all see me. And I enjoyed myself. Even though I couldn't see them, I was able to interact with them. It felt like community. It felt like home. And so I shared. And I was kind of leery because even though they speak English, just like we speak English, it's not the same English. And I struggled to understand a lot of the jokes and everything, but I was just like, yes, words have power and I'm going to do this and I am going to show up. And I did. And they loved it. And they invited me to show up other places. And I kept doing that. And I just kept showing up because when you show up, that's half the battle. So show up. Show up. If that's all you can do, show up. Because by showing up, you have won half the battle. And then the more I showed up and the more I allowed my words to have power and to speak to my world and change my views, and the more opportunities opened. And so as my bio introduction said, I've not only performed in these places as just a person who's a part of the show, I've been the show. I've been the show in these countries that I never would have dreamed of going. And I also have created great friendships now and people that I never would have met if the world had not shut down. So again, words have power. They have so much power. And I just want you to remember that they have power. And now that I'm joining my power with other people's power, and we're doing awesome things. So yeah, that's my story, kind of like of words and how the power of words has affected my life and helped my life. And in this month of Black History, I just really want to encourage you all to remember that your words have power. Remember Maya Angelou, and that she said words have power. And just think about the power that you have over your own life, your own little world, your own universe, because it's so much. It'll blow your socks off once you realize how much power your words have. And so then I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what I'm working on now. And so I'm working on a poetry CD, and not the poetry that that I think that you have to read in high school. The boring poetry. I am actually working on putting a poetry CD together that has music behind the poetry, because again, what I do is spoken word entertainment, not necessarily poetry. And again, my words and have power. And so I am so honored to be able to work with a composer from England who lives 5 minutes away, London, England. He lives 5 minutes away from Buckingham Palace. He composed for Princess Diana when she was alive. I'm just honored to have those experiences, and I would never have had that experience if I hadn't opened my mouth, and if I hadn't given my words power in my world and my universe to change my view. I'm also working with a musician in Scotland, and that's awesome to be doing. So again, your words have power, and they can change your outlook, they can change outcomes, they can change how you view the world. And so I'm really excited about that. And now, I don't want to sit here and pretend like life is all roses, because it's not. And like I said, high school was really hard for me. And this project that I've been working on, I've been working on it for 2 years. But prior to this year, the words that I was using in regards to this project were, oh, it'll happen when it happens. Oh, it'll get done eventually. I'll do it someday, even though it was something that I really wanted to do. This year, I changed those words. And I said, no, it is going to happen by this time. I am going to do this by this date. And I am going to finish this project. And once I started changing even the words that I was using in regards to my goals, I actually started really working on them and seeing progress and seeing an end date come to fruition. Even though it's still a little bit far out, I'm seeing those things. So again, my mantra that has been this whole time is that words have power. So yeah, and now speaking of words have power, before I go, I want to help you all with your words and power. So if you can submit, maybe not today, but over the coming week, a word or two that gives you power, I would like to take all of the words and make them into a Freeman family poem that is just for you all. So any questions?
So I had to unmic there. Our bell was ringing, so I didn't want to jump on the microphone when our bell was ringing there. I want to thank you for your time today. That was, I'm sitting here thinking of some questions I might want to be asking during our Q&A session, and then every time I was trying to brainstorm a question, I got hung on your words again, just kept listening. And you had said that words were powerful, and your story is unique and inspiring. And I thank you for today and sharing your story with us. We usually have a Q&A section. Our bell just rang, and I don't think at the moment students like to kind of slowly drop their questions in after the presentation, and we don't have any at the moment, but we always have some follow-up questions, usually later on. We just don't have any at the moment here. So as those questions come in, I will send them your way and we'll get them answered, and I'll get those relayed back to those students as they come in. I do want to piggyback on the challenge you just presented for our students. Ms. Kaplan, who's our school librarian, amongst many other things in our building, has one additional challenge for our students. And Ms. Kaplan, if you want to jump on real quick and let our students know what that challenge is, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so not only do I want you guys to give us words to make, so Special K can make a poem for the Freeman family, I also want you guys to do your own spoken word challenge. So each night before you go to sleep, write down a word or some phrases that come to mind and just put them on a piece of paper or on your phone or whatever you write on. And do this all the way till April. And then in April, we're going to celebrate Poetry Month by having an open mic time for students and faculty. You are also welcome to share any poems that you've created using these phrases or words throughout the month. Okay, so be looking for that update in Schoology. Thank you,
Ms. Kaplan, thank you for that. We appreciate it. So 2 challenges to our students and our teachers here at Freeman. Words for the next week. So Special K can create us a Freeman poem, which I am ecstatic about her ability to put that together and can't wait for that. And a challenge over the next month or so for students individually on a level here to share maybe their words with the student body at a later date. Again, I just want to thank you, Special K, for your time today. I know you are extremely busy, and I can't express enough how valuable it was for you to be here with us today. And your words have resonated, I'm sure, and I know with a lot of our students here in this building. So thank you for your time today, and we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Freeman family, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the nice weather. Thank you.